Get your filthy black hands off that car. Gregory Patterson's arm swings hard. 9-year-old Maya Jenkins crashes onto wet concrete, her palms scraping gravel blood mixing with rainwater. Her envelope, her mother's last hope, lands in a puddle. Ink bleeds into dirty water. Gregory towers over her. You people think you can touch a $300, $1,000 Bentley, go back to the welfare office where you belong. Maya doesn't cry. She picks up the ruined envelope and turns toward the car. Inside, behind bulletproof glass, sits the one man who could save her dying mother. She has 30 seconds before he drives away forever. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel and follow Maya's incredible journey to the very end. Comment below with the city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Gregory Patterson grabbed Maya's collar and yanked her backwards so hard her feet left the ground. I said move security, we got another one. Maya stumbled but didn't fall. Her knees were bleeding, her palms burned, but she planted her feet and faced him. Please, I just need 2 minutes with Mr. Thornton. Gregory laughed. Mr. Thornton, the CEO little girl. Well, Marcus Thornton doesn't talk to people like you. He doesn't even look at people like you. My mother qualified for his program, the Second Chance Initiative. Someone made a mistake on her application. The only mistake is you being here. Gregory pulled out his radio. Security front entrance, we need removal. Young black female, maybe 9, harassing clients. Maya's heart pounded. 7 people had already rejected her today. The security guard at the first building had called her a word she wouldn't repeat. The receptionist at the second had threatened to call Child Protective Services. The third person walked past like she was invisible. The fourth gave her $1 and told her to buy food. The fifth laughed. The sixth cursed. The seventh slammed a door in her face. 200 people in 6 weeks. 200 no's. But she kept coming back, because number 8 might say yes. I'm not leaving, Maya said. Gregory's face twisted. He grabbed her arm hard enough to leave bruises and started dragging her toward the street. Let me go, Maya pulled against his grip. I'm not doing anything wrong. My mom is sick. They all say that. Sick mother, dying father. It's always something. Gregory reached the curb and shoved her toward traffic. Get out before I make this worse for you. Maya stumbled into the street. A car horn blared. Tires screeched. She jumped back onto the sidewalk, heart hammering. The Bentley was still there. Engine running. Through the tinted windows, she could see the shadow of someone in the back seat. She had one chance left. Maya ran. She was fast, small and desperate. She reached the car before Gregory could catch her and pressed herself against the window, pressed the ruined envelope against bulletproof glass. And she looked inside. Marcus Thornton was scrolling through emails. 17 unread. A fundraiser in 40 minutes. The Singapore acquisition hitting roadblocks. His assistant Rachel had sent 3 reminders about a speech he hadn't reviewed. His driver James cleared his throat. Sir, there's some commotion at the entrance. Handle it. The valet is removing someone, a child. Let him do his job. A shadow fell across his window. Marcus looked up. A black child stood outside, soaking wet, trembling. She pressed a ruined envelope against his bulletproof glass. Blood was running down her palms. She had been hurt and no one had helped her. But it was her eyes that stopped him. Old, ancient. The eyes of someone who had seen too much. She mouthed one word. Help. Marcus had been asked for help thousands of times. At galas, in letters that arrived by the hundreds. He had systems for that. Departments, protocols. He never handled these things personally. His finger moved toward the button that would raise the partition. He should tell James to drive. The fundraiser started soon. 300 people waiting. But those eyes. They reminded him of someone. His mother. Janet Thornton had died 15 years ago. But looking at this child in the rain, Marcus saw her. The same exhaustion, the same determination, the same refusal to give up. His mother had raised him alone on 63rd and Ashland. 2 jobs. Never asked anyone for help. She had filled out an application for housing assistance, once careful handwriting, every box completed, mailed, certified, because she didn't trust regular mail. The rejection letter came 4 weeks later. Incomplete application. Missing documentation. His mother had folded that letter, put it in a drawer, and never mentioned it again. 2 months later, they were evicted. She died believing that asking for help was weakness. Marcus looked at the child outside his window. His finger moved away from the partition button. James, lower my window. James turned around. Sir, I don't think... Do it. The glass slid down to Rocao 2 inches. Cold air rushed in. The girl's voice was steady, not begging, simply stating facts. Sir, they rejected my mom's grant application from your company, the Second Chance Initiative, but she qualified. I checked the requirements myself. Someone changed the dates on her paperwork. Marcus's throat tightened. What's your name? Maya Jenkins, and I need you to read this before it falls apart. She pushed what was left of the envelope through the gap. Gregory appeared at the window. Mr. Thornton, I am so sorry. I tried to remove her, but... Step back. Sir, I said step back, now. The valet retreated. In 14 years, Marcus had never spoken to him directly. Marcus looked at Maya. Get in the car. Maya's eyes went wide. What? The other side. Get in. You asked for help. I'm offering it. Maya walked around the Bentley on legs that felt disconnected from her body. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She had prepared for rejection. She had not prepared for yes. She opened the door. The interior was another world. Leather seats softer than anything she had ever touched. Wood trim gleaming like honey. Maya sat down. Her hands stayed folded in her lap. Her wet clothes were soaking the seat. I'm sorry, I'm getting your seat wet. The seats can be cleaned. Tell me about your mother. Her name is Denise Jenkins. She's 37. She was a kindergarten teacher for 12 years. Before that, she served in the Army for 8 years. She got honorably discharged after she was hurt overseas. And her medical condition: multiple sclerosis, diagnosed 3 years ago. She takes 6 medications. She needs supplemental oxygen sometimes. Maya's voice stayed steady, reciting facts she had memorized. On bad days, she needs a wheelchair. Marcus looked at the wet paper in his hands. Application for Thornton Industries Second Chance Initiative. Status denied. Reason incomplete application. Submission date missed deadline. And there at the bottom, a date stamp that looked wrong. The ink was different. Someone had written over the original. Maya, who gave you this rejection letter. A woman at your office, 10th floor. She was wearing a watch like yours. Marcus looked at his Patek Philippe. $40,000. He had given the same model to Victoria Hayes 3 years ago. She said the fund ran out of money, Maya continued, but that doesn't make sense. She pulled out an old phone with a cracked screen. I found this article. It says the Second Chance Initiative still has $2 million left. Marcus took the phone. The article was from the Chicago Tribune. He had given an interview for it. He remembered telling the reporter the initiative was fully funded and making a real difference. His own words. His own lies. You read budget reports, he asked. I read everything. When you're trying to save your mom, you learn what you need to learn. I filled out the application 3 times. Sent it certified mail October 3rd. The deadline was October 15th, but the rejection says she missed a deadline on September 28th. That's impossible. Someone changed the dates, Mr. Thornton. Someone in your company is lying. Marcus stared at this child, 9 years old, fighting a battle adults would have abandoned. James. Sir. Cancel my engagement tonight. Sir, 300 people. Call Rachel. Tell her I have food poisoning. Then take us to Miss Jenkins's address. James hesitated 1 second. Yes, sir. What's the address? Maya recited it. 4847 South Cottage Grove, apartment 2B. The Bentley pulled away from Thornton Tower. Marcus looked at Maya. How long have you been coming downtown to ask for help? 6 weeks, every day after school. And how many people have you asked? But maybe 200. 200 people, and they all said no. Most didn't let me finish talking. Some called security. One man spit at me. Maya shrugged a terrible shrug. The shrug of someone who had learned cruelty was normal. He missed, but still. Someone spit at you. He said people like me were ruining the city. It's not the worst thing anyone said. Marcus felt something hot twist in his chest. Shame. Rage. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that. It's okay. You get used to it. You shouldn't have to get used to it. Maya looked at him. Mr. Thornton, why did you stop? 200 people saw me and kept going, but you stopped. Why? Because you reminded me of my mother. She died 15 years ago, but when I saw you in the rain refusing to give up, I saw her. Was she sick too? No, she was poor, which in America is its own kind of sickness. Marcus paused. She raised me alone. 2 jobs. Never asked anyone for help. My mom's the same. That's why she doesn't know I've been doing this. She doesn't know? She thinks I've been at the library. If she knew? Maya's voice cracked slightly. She would have tried to stop me, said we don't need charity. So you lied to protect her. I lied to save her. There's a difference. Marcus pulled out his phone and dialed. Rachel, I need you to call Commonwealth Edison and pay off the full balance for Denise Jenkins at 4847 South Cottage Grove. My personal card. Pay 6 months in advance. He listened, then cut her off. I don't care how unusual it is. Find a way. Now. He ended the call. Maya's eyes were wet. You didn't have to do that. I know. Why did you? Because someone should have done it for my mother, and nobody did. They drove in silence. The city changed around them. Downtown towers gave way to tired buildings. Clean sidewalks became cracked concrete. The Bentley pulled up to Maya's building. Faded brick, bars on the windows. A man sat on the front steps watching them. Sir, James said quietly, are you sure about this? Wait here. Keep the doors locked. Marcus stepped out into a neighborhood he hadn't visited in 30 years. Maya led him up a stairwell that smelled like mildew. Second floor, apartment 2B. She stopped at the door. Mr. Thornton, please don't tell her I lied. I'll tell her myself later, but right now she needs hope. I'll follow your lead. Maya opened the door. The apartment was small. 1 bedroom, a fold-out couch, medical equipment in the corner oxygen tank, wheelchair, pill bottles lined up with precision. A whiteboard on the wall covered in Maya's handwriting. 8:00 a.m. Prednisone. 10:00 a.m. Baclofen. 12:00 p.m. Gabapentin. Maya's schedule. Maya's responsibility. A woman appeared in the bedroom doorway leaning on a walker. Denise Jenkins, 37 but looking 50. Gaunt face, trembling hands. But her eyes were fierce. Proud. Baby, who is? She stopped, stared. You're Marcus Thornton. Mrs. Jenkins, I apologize for arriving unannounced. Denise's eyes moved to her daughter. Maya, what did you do? Mama, what did you do? I asked for help? Maya's composure cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I know you told me not to. I know you said we don't need charity, but Mama, we do. We need it so bad. She was sobbing now, 6 weeks of holding everything together coming out at once. I couldn't just watch you get sicker. I couldn't wait for them to turn off the lights. I'm 9. I don't know how to fix MS. I don't know how to pay rent. I don't know what to do anymore. You were pushed, Denise's voice sharpened. Someone pushed you. The valet at Mr. Thornton's building, but it doesn't matter. What matters is I found someone who listened. After 200 people, I found someone who stopped. Denise looked at Marcus. Her spine was straight even now. Mr. Thornton, why are you here? Because your daughter showed me something I should have seen. Marcus pulled out the ruined envelope. Someone in my company altered your application, changed the dates to disqualify you. That's impossible. I filled out that application myself. I filled it out, Mama. Maya's voice was small. 3 times. I copied all your documents, sent it certified mail. Denise stared at her daughter. You did all that? Someone had to. You can't always think straight when your medication makes you fuzzy, so I keep the bills organized. I make the calls. Maya looked at the floor. I've been doing it since I was 7. The silence was devastating. Marcus watched Denise process the truth that her 9-year-old had been managing her life for 2 years. Baby, Denise's voice broke. Come here. Maya crossed the room and fell into her mother's arms. They held each other. This woman who had served her country and lost everything when her body betrayed her, and this child who had decided to fight when fighting seemed impossible. Marcus stood in the doorway and felt the full weight of his failure. He had created the Second Chance Initiative. Press conference. Cameras. He had talked about responsibility, about giving back. Then he had walked away. Mrs. Jenkins? He waited until she looked at him. I need to see Maya's documentation, the certified mail receipt, everything. Maya walked to a drawer and pulled out a thick folder. Inside was everything the original application certified mail receipt dated October 3rd, military service records, medical documentation, bank statements showing $47.23. Everything a family needed to prove they deserved help, and it had been thrown away. Marcus flipped between the receipt and rejection letter. October 3rd, October 15th deadline, September 28th on the rejection. This is fraud. Deliberate fraud. Mr. Thornton. Denise's voice was careful. Why should I believe you? People like you make promises all the time. You smile for cameras. Then nothing changes for people like us. You're right. We rarely keep our promises. Marcus pulled out his checkbook, wrote quickly, signed, placed it on the table. $45,000. Denise stared. Her hands trembled. This is what you qualified for. The full grant amount. This isn't charity. This is what my company owed you. I can't. It's yours. It was always supposed to be yours. Marcus looked at Maya. Your daughter fought for this. She bled for it. I'm just delivering what she won. Maya picked up the check with trembling hands. $45,000. Rent for a year. Medicine for 6 months. Food. Heat. New shoes without holes. Mama. Her voice was barely a whisper. We're going to be okay. Denise burst into tears. Deep shaking sobs. Years of holding everything together. Years of watching her daughter grow up too fast. All of it came out at once. Maya held her mother, this child who had been the strong one for so long, finally able to let go. Marcus made a vow. This wasn't just about one family. Someone had built a system to exploit the vulnerable. Someone had weaponized his charity. He was going to find out who. His phone buzzed. Rachel. Electric company paid. 6 months credit applied. Also found something concerning. Rejection rate increased 400% in 6 months. 87 families denied. Marcus typed back, pull everything. Rejections, approvals, all transactions. On my desk tonight. Don't tell anyone. Not Victoria, not the board, no one. He looked at Maya and Denise. I have to go, but I want you to have my direct number. He wrote on a business card, personal cell. If anything happens, if anyone contacts you, call this number. Denise took the card. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? I owe you everything. I created a program to help people like you. I let someone turn it into a weapon. Marcus walked toward the door, then stopped. There are going to be 86 other families. I'm going to find every one of them, and I'm going to make it right. How? He looked back at Maya. The same way your daughter did, by not stopping until it's done. He left the building. James was waiting by the Bentley. Sir, everything all right? No, everything is very wrong, but it's going to be. Where to? The office. I have work to do. The Bentley pulled away, and 42 floors above the Chicago streets, Victoria Hayes was watching. Her office was dark except for the computer screen. Security footage played on loop, Maya pressing against the window, Marcus lowering the glass. Victoria had built her scheme over 18 months. A shell company owned by her brother Richard. Applications rejected for fabricated reasons. Money disappearing into offshore accounts. $1.4 million. 87 families. Perfect, clean, untraceable. Until today. She watched Marcus's Bentley disappear toward the south side. She picked up her phone. Richard, we have a problem? What kind? The kind that doesn't go away. Marcus is asking questions. He took one of the reject files. One file isn't... It's not about one file. It's what he might find when he looks at the others. Victoria's voice turned to ice. Move everything to the offshore accounts tonight. Tonight, that's millions. Moving that much leaves traces. Traces are better than prison. Do it. She ended the call and stared at the frozen frame, Maya's face pressed against the window, her lips forming that word. Help. Victoria had heard it 1,000 times. She had learned to ignore it. But this time, someone had listened. She pulled up Maya's file. Address. Mother's condition. Income below poverty line. No social support. A family with nothing. A family no one would miss. Victoria opened another file. Gregory Patterson's contact. Gregory answered on the second ring. Ms. Hayes, there was an incident. I know. Tell me everything, she said. I don't want trouble. I was just doing my job. And you'll keep your job with a significant bonus if you help me understand what happened. If not... She let the silence stretch. I'm sure we can find someone who doesn't shove 9-year-old girls in front of security cameras. Gregory's breath caught. For 10 minutes he recounted everything. Maya's claims about altered dates, the certified mail receipt, her knowledge of the budget. Victoria's blood ran cold. This child hadn't just asked for help. She had built a case. She ended the call and began typing. Emails to delete, documents to modify. Maya Jenkins was a threat. Victoria would eliminate her. Not physically, but there were other ways. Social services, anonymous tips, questions about whether a disabled mother could care for a child. She began drafting a letter. Meanwhile, Marcus sat in his office at midnight reading files. 87 rejection letters. Maria Rodriguez, single mother, 3 children, rejected for failing to meet income requirements. Her income was $800. The requirement was $200. She had been rejected for being too poor. William Hayes, Marine veteran, rejected for criminal background. He didn't have one. James Turner, factory worker, rejected for insufficient work history. He had 40 years, a pattern, a system, a machine designed to steal. His phone rang. Thomas Anderson, forensic accountant. Marcus, I found something. The initiative distributed $1.2 million on paper. Only $400,000 went to families. The rest went to Bridgepoint Strategies, LLC. Who owns Bridgepoint? One employee, Richard Hayes, Victoria's brother. How much total? $1.4 million, maybe more. Thomas paused. This is wire fraud, racketeering, federal crimes. I know. You could fire her quietly, avoid the scandal. And the 87 families, they just live with it. Most don't know they were robbed. But I know. Marcus looked at the files. I'm going to find every family, tell them what happened, give them what they were owed, then I'm going to burn down everyone who did this. Thomas was quiet. You're serious? A 9-year-old girl stood in the rain for 6 weeks. She was pushed down, insulted, threatened, but she didn't stop. Marcus walked to his window. I'm not going to stop either. Be careful. People like Victoria don't go down without a fight. Neither do I. He ended the call. On South Cottage Grove, Maya couldn't sleep. She got out of bed and walked to the window. Thank you, she whispered to no one, for believing me. In her room, Denise was also awake, tears streaming down her face. Her daughter had been carrying everything, at 9 years old, and she hadn't known. Tomorrow, everything would be different. Phone calls to make, a life to rebuild. But tonight, in the small apartment, mother and daughter lay awake thinking about the same thing. Hope. Fragile. Uncertain. Terrifying. But real. For the first time in years, real. 6:47 a.m. the next morning. Marcus Thornton hadn't slept. He sat in his office surrounded by 87 rejection files. Red eyes, cold coffee on the desk, but he wasn't tired. He was burning. His phone rang. Thomas Anderson. Marcus, I found more. Bridgepoint Strategies doesn't just receive money from Second Chance. They have contracts with 5 other companies in Chicago. Same pattern, same method. Marcus gripped the phone tighter. How much total? Preliminary estimate $4 million. Could be more. How long has she been doing this? At least 3 years, possibly since she started managing the program. Marcus closed his eyes. 3 years. Victoria had been stealing from desperate families for 3 years right under his nose. Send me everything. I need evidence that can't be denied. Marcus, be careful. If Victoria finds out you're investigating, let her find out. He ended the call and looked out the window. Chicago was waking up below. Millions of people. Millions of stories. 87 families who didn't know they had been robbed. But they would know. 7:15 a.m. Victoria Hayes walked into her office and immediately knew something was wrong. Her computer had been accessed, not hacked. Someone with admin privileges had entered the system last night, viewed files, downloaded data. She called IT. Who accessed my computer last night? Let me check, Ms. Hayes. Keyboard clicking. That was Rachel Stevens, Mr. Thornton's assistant. Victoria hung up. Her hand trembled slightly as she opened a drawer and pulled out a USB drive. She had prepared for this situation, a backup plan, falsified documents, evidence that would blame someone else. Her phone buzzed. Richard. Sis, we have a problem. The Bridgepoint accounts were frozen this morning. The bank says there's an investigation request from who? FBI. Victoria shot to her feet. FBI how? I don't know, but they're requesting all transaction records from the past 2 years. Victoria looked through her office glass. Marcus Thornton was walking down the hallway heading toward her. Delete everything, she whispered. Everything, Richard. Now. She ended the call just as Marcus opened her door. Victoria? Marcus? She smiled, perfect as always. You're here early. Is something wrong? Sit down. I'm fine standing. Sit down. His voice cut like a knife. Victoria had never heard him speak like that in 12 years. She sat. Marcus placed a stack of files on the desk. Emily Jenkins, Maria Rodriguez, William Hayes, James Turner. He read each name. 87 families, Victoria, 87. I don't understand what you're talking about. You don't understand. Marcus opened the file. This is Emily Jenkins's application. Submission date October 3rd. Deadline October 15th. But the rejection letter says she missed the deadline on September 28th. He pointed at the ink stain. Who altered this date, Victoria? Perhaps an administrative error. An administrative error that happened sometimes, with the same pattern, all veterans or single parents. Victoria kept her face calm. Marcus, I understand you're upset. That girl, Maya Jenkins, she told you a touching story. But these people, they always have stories. They exploit the system. They exploit. Marcus laughed bitterly. You're saying a mother with MS is exploiting the system. A veteran wounded in war is exploiting. I was protecting the program from fraud. Bridgepoint strategies. Victoria froze. That's your brother's company, isn't it? Marcus continued. Richard Hayes, one employee, no office, no clients besides Thornton Industries, but somehow that company has received $1.4 million in the past 18 months. That's legitimate administrative fees. I have the bank records, Victoria. I have the emails. I have everything. Victoria's face went pale, but she quickly regained composure. What do you have in unauthorized audit evidence collected improperly? She stood up. My lawyers will tear it apart in court. You think this is about court, isn't it? Marcus stepped closer to her. This is about 87 families who were robbed. This is about a 9-year-old girl who stood in the rain for 6 weeks because you stole her mother's money. This is about what you've become, Victoria. What I've become, Victoria laughed coldly. I've become the person who keeps this company running while you're busy collecting humanitarian awards. You want to know the truth, you don't care about those families. You care about your image, about how the world sees you. You don't know anything about me. I know enough. I know you grew up poor. I know you hate where you came from. And I know you built walls of glass and steel so you'd never have to see it again. Victoria tilted her head. Until a child made you remember. Marcus clenched his fist. Get out of this building. You're firing me. I'm giving you a chance to leave before security drags you out. Victoria picked up her purse. You'll regret this, Marcus. I have allies on the board. I have evidence of your own questionable decisions. You think you're the only one who knows how to play this game. This isn't a game. Everything is a game. Victoria paused at the door. And you just lost. She walked out, heels clicking steadily on the marble floor. 8:30 a.m., the Jenkins apartment. Maya woke to the sound of her phone ringing, an unknown number. Hello? Maya Jenkins. A woman's voice. Cold, professional. I'm Sarah Mitchell from Illinois Child Protective Services. We received a report about your living conditions. Maya's heart stopped for a beat. What report? An anonymous report claiming you're living in unsafe conditions, that your mother can't properly care for you due to her medical condition. That's a lie. My mom takes great care of me. We need to verify. A caseworker will visit your home this afternoon. If your mother isn't present or refuses to cooperate, then what? Then we'll have to consider protective measures. The phone fell from Maya's hand. Denise appeared in the doorway leaning on her walker. Baby, what's wrong? Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Someone had called Child Protective Services. Someone wanted to take her away from her mother. Maya, Mama. Her voice trembled. Someone's trying to take me away. 9:00 a.m. Marcus's office. His phone buzzed. Maya Jenkins. Mr. Thornton. The girl's voice was choked. They called Child Protective Services. They said someone reported that my mom can't take care of me. They're coming this afternoon. Marcus gripped the phone tight. Victoria. She had acted faster than he thought. Maya, listen to me. Don't panic. I'm sending a lawyer right now. Her name is Patricia Coleman. She specializes in family cases. She'll help. But Mr. Thornton, if they take me away... They won't take you away, I promise. How can you promise that? Marcus closed his eyes. He couldn't. He had no right to promise anything. But this girl had been fighting alone for too long. Because I won't let that happen. Trust me. Long silence. Then a breath. I trust you. 10:15 a.m. Jefferson Elementary School. Maya arrived at school late. She couldn't concentrate. Her mind was spinning with the morning call, with the fear of losing her mother, with everything falling apart. Maya Jenkins, Tyler Martinez shouted from the end of the hallway. I saw the news. Your rich friend got fired. Maya kept walking. My mom says your family is scamming people. Another girl, Jessica, ran after her. You're a liar. I'm not a liar. That guy paid you to say bad things about his company, didn't he? Tyler blocked Maya's path. How much? How much did you sell for? I didn't sell anything. Liar? Jessica pushed Maya. My mom says you should be expelled. Miss Patterson appeared from the classroom. What's going on here? Nothing, ma'am. Tyler smiled fakely. We were just talking. Miss Patterson looked at Maya, saw her red eyes, saw how she was gripping her backpack strap like it was the only thing keeping her standing. Maya, come to the classroom with me. Inside the room, Miss Patterson closed the door. Are you okay? I'm fine. Maya lied. She had been lying a lot lately. You don't have to be fine. I've seen the news. I know what you're going through. Miss Patterson sat down beside her. You did something very brave. Brave. Maya laughed bitterly. Now everyone hates me. Now they're trying to take me from my mom. Who's trying to take you? Child Protective Services. Someone called and reported my mom. Miss Patterson's face went pale. When? This morning. They're coming this afternoon. Maya, listen to me. I'm going to call your mother. I'll be there when they come. As your teacher, I can testify that you're well cared for. You'd do that. I've taught you for 3 years. I know how much your mom loves you. I know you're the best student I've ever had. Miss Patterson held Maya's hand. You're not alone. Do you understand? You're not alone. Maya cried. For the first time since everything began, she cried not from pain, but because someone cared. 12:30 p.m. Thornton Industries boardroom. Emergency board meeting. 9 members sat around the oak table. Marcus at the head. Clark Morrison, the member, with the most shares, sat opposite with ice-cold eyes. Marcus explained to us why Victoria Hayes was fired this morning without board approval. She was stealing from the company $1.4 million from the Second Chance Initiative. Sadine. She says those were legitimate administrative fees. She's lying. Clark opened a folder. We also have reports that you privately met with a family from the program, that you wrote a personal check for $45,000. Correct. Do you realize that creates a conflict of interest? I realize that a 9-year-old girl stood in the rain for 6 weeks trying to save her mother while we sat in air-conditioned offices doing nothing. Patricia Hill, the longest-serving board member, interjected, Marcus, no one doubts your intentions, but you acted unilaterally. You conducted an unauthorized audit. You fired a senior executive without consultation. I'm the CEO. That's my right. Your rights have limits. Clark pushed a paper toward Marcus. This is a motion for a vote of no confidence. If it passes, you'll be suspended while we conduct an independent investigation. Marcus looked at the paper, then at each face around the table. Who proposed this for Victoria Hayes? Clark didn't blink. Before she left this morning. And you're seriously considering a proposal from the person I just accused of embezzlement. We're considering allegations from both sides. Patricia shrugged. That's our responsibility. Marcus stood up. You want to vote, but before you do that, I want you to look at these files. He opened his briefcase and dumped 87 folders onto the table. Maria Rodriguez, 3 children, denied medical assistance because she didn't meet income requirements. Her income was $800 a month. The requirement was under $200. He threw another file. William Hayes, veteran. 2 tours in Afghanistan. Denied because of criminal background. This man doesn't have a single parking ticket in his life. Another file. James Turner, 62 years old, 40 years working in a factory. Denied retraining because of insufficient work history. Marcus looked straight into Clark's eyes. 87 families, 87 stories. All of them qualified. All of them were denied. And $1.4 million that should have been theirs flowed into a shell company owned by Victoria's brother. Silence. Patricia picked up one of the files and began reading. If you fire me, Marcus continued, you'll have to explain to the press why. You'll have to explain to shareholders why. And you'll have to look into the eyes of those 87 families and tell us this company cares more about cover-ups than justice. Clark looked down at the no-confidence paper, then at the files on the table. Postpone the vote, he finally said. We need time to review this evidence. Marcus nodded. You have 24 hours. After that, I'm going public with everything with or without board approval. He left the boardroom. To Ahandropem, the Jenkins apartment. 2 caseworkers from Child Protective Services stood in the small living room. Sarah Mitchell, who had called that morning, and a man named Robert Chen. Patricia Coleman, the lawyer Marcus sent, sat beside Denise. Miss Patterson stood near Maya. Mrs. Jenkins. Sarah said, "We received a report that your daughter is taking on adult responsibilities due to your health condition, that she has to manage medications bills and even apply for assistance." Denise gripped her walker tightly. "Maya helps because she wants to help, not because I force her." "We understand, but a 9-year-old shouldn't have to save her family." Denise cut her off. "I agree, but that's not her fault or mine. That's the fault of a system that refused to help us when we needed it." Robert Chen looked around the apartment. Clean, organized, medications arranged carefully, food in the refrigerator. "Mrs. Jenkins, it appears you're managing well?" "I'm doing my best." Sarah opened her folder. "The report also says Maya frequently skips school to go downtown begging for money." "That's a lie." Maya stepped forward. "I wasn't begging. I was looking for help for a program my mom qualified for." "Maya." Patricia Coleman raised her hand to stop her. "Let me handle this." She turned to Sarah. "I have Maya's attendance records from Jefferson Elementary. She hasn't missed a single day of school in the past 6 weeks. Whatever she did to help her mother happened after school hours." Sarah frowned. "But the report is anonymous, isn't it?" Patricia smiled sharply. "Anyone can say anything in an anonymous report. The question is whether you have actual evidence of neglect or abuse." Robert and Sarah looked at each other. "No," Robert admitted. "The apartment is clean. Maya is healthy. Mrs. Jenkins has a support system." Miss Patterson stepped forward. "I've taught Maya for 3 years. She's the best student in my class. She's kind, smart, and deeply loved by her mother. Anyone who says otherwise is lying." Sarah closed the folder. "We'll note that the report was unfounded. No action will be taken at this time." She looked at Maya. "You're very brave. I hope you know that." They left. The moment the door closed, Denise collapsed into the chair, crying. "Baby." She pulled Maya into her arms. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you had to go through all this." "It's okay, Mama. We're fine. We're still together." Patricia Coleman gathered her papers. "That call wasn't random. Someone is trying to pressure this family." Miss Patterson nodded. "Victoria Hayes." "Possibly, but there's no way to prove it." Patricia looked at Maya. "You need to be careful. This person doesn't play fair." Maya thought about the woman on the 10th floor. Expensive watch, cold eyes, sweet voice saying the fund had run out of money. "I know they don't play fair. I've known that for a long time." 5:30 p.m. Cornerstone Community Shelter. Marcus arrived where Samuel Carter worked. The young paralegal was sitting amid stacks of files, eyes tired but focused. "Mr. Thornton." Samuel stood up. "I didn't expect you to actually come. I said I would." "Rich people say a lot of things." Samuel shrugged. "Sorry, I've been working with these families too long. I've become cynical." "Cynical is good. It keeps you sharp." Marcus sat down. "You said you've been tracking similar cases." "Yes, Bridgepoint Strategies doesn't just work with your company. They have contracts with at least 5 other companies in Chicago." Samuel opened his laptop. "Same pattern. Charity program, high administrative costs, families denied on technicalities." "How many families total?" "I estimate around 250, could be more." Marcus closed his eyes. 250 families, 250 stories like Maya and Denise. "I need to meet them, everyone who didn't take settlement money." Samuel looked at him for a long moment. "You know Victoria Hayes has contacted many families from your list of 87, right?" "Contacted?" "Offering settlement money, with confidentiality agreements. 63 families have agreed." Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the gut. 63. "They're poor, Mr. Thornton. They need money now, not justice in 2 years." Samuel closed his laptop. "But 24 families refused. They want truth over money." "I need to meet those 24. "Why?" "Because they're the ones who will help me burn it all down." Samuel looked at him for a long time. Then he smiled for the first time. "All right, I'll arrange a meeting, but Mr. Thornton..." "What?" "Don't disappoint them. They've been disappointed enough." 8:00 p.m. Marcus's home. Marcus sat alone in his empty penthouse. His wife had divorced him 5 years ago. His son lived in California and rarely called. His friends were business partners, not people he trusted. He had built an empire, and he had built it alone. His phone buzzed. Maya. "Mr. Thornton? Sorry to call late." "It's fine. What's wrong?" "I just wanted to say thank you for sending the lawyer, for saving me from being taken away." "You don't need to thank me. It was the right thing to do." Silence. Then Maya's voice grew smaller. Mr. Thornton, someone is trying to hurt you because you helped us, aren't they? Marcus thought about the board meeting, about the no confidence vote, about everything he was about to lose. Don't worry about that. I worry. You're the only one who listened to me. You've found more people now. Miss Patterson, Lawyer Coleman, Samuel from the shelter. Marcus paused. You're not alone anymore, Maya, and neither am I. You promise you won't give up. I promise. Because number 8 might say yes. Marcus smiled. Yes, because number 8 might say yes. He ended the call and looked out at the city. Tomorrow he would meet the 24 families who had refused settlement money, 24 people who had chosen truth over comfort, 24 people like Maya who refused to look away. He would build an army from them, and he would fight. 10:45 p.m., Victoria Hayes' home office. Victoria sat before her computer screen, hands trembling as she read the email. The FBI had expanded their investigation, not just Bridgepoint, all the companies she had worked with over the past 3 years. Richard had flown to the Cayman Islands this morning. He wasn't coming back. She was alone. Victoria opened a drawer and pulled out a USB drive. Her backup plan. Falsified evidence blaming Marcus. Fabricated emails. Doctored documents. If she was going down, she would drag him down with her. But first, she needed to do one more thing. She picked up her phone and called a familiar number. Gregory, I need you to do something for me. Ms. Hayes, I don't want to get involved. You're already involved. You pushed that girl down in front of security cameras. If I go down, you go down with me. Victoria smiled. Now listen, I need you to watch the Jenkins family. Tell me where they go, who they meet, what they do. Watching a child, that's platome. That's how you keep your job and your freedom. Understand? Long silence. Understood. Victoria ended the call. She looked out the window. Chicago at night sparkled like a black jewel. Marcus Thornton thought he had won. He thought firing her was the end. But Victoria Hayes wasn't the type to be defeated easily. She had climbed from nothing. She had fought every step of the way. She wouldn't let a 9-year-old girl and her short-sighted former boss destroy everything she had built. If they wanted war, they would get war. 11:30 p.m. The Jenkins apartment. Maya couldn't sleep. She lay on her fold-out bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened in the past 48 hours. The $45,000 check in her mother's purse. The call from Child Protective Services. The insults at school. Mr. Thornton fighting the board. 24 families refusing to stay silent. Everything was moving. Faster than she could keep up. Bigger than she could understand. She was just a 9-year-old, but she had started all of this with one word, by refusing to leave, by standing in the rain and believing someone would listen. Maya turned over and looked out the window. Somewhere out there, 24 families were waiting. 24 stories like hers. 24 people who had chosen to fight. Tomorrow she would meet them. Tomorrow everything would change again. But tonight, for the first time in many weeks, Maya felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. Fragile. Uncertain. Terrifying. But real. 7:15 a.m. Day 3. Maya woke with the feeling that someone was watching her. She stood at the window looking down at the street. A gray car was parked at the corner. It had been there since last night. She remembered because it didn't belong to anyone in the neighborhood. "Baby, come eat breakfast," Denise called from the kitchen. Maya didn't take her eyes off the car. Someone was sitting inside. She couldn't see the face clearly, but she knew they were looking toward her window. Maya. "Yes, Mama, coming." She pulled the curtain closed and tried to forget about the car, but she couldn't. 8:30 a.m., Cornerstone Community Shelter. 24 people sat in the small meeting room, black, white, Latino, Asian, veterans, single parents, elderly, young. They had nothing in common except one thing: all had been rejected, and all had refused to stay silent. Marcus stood before them, Samuel Carter at his side. "My name is Marcus Thornton. I created the Second Chance Initiative, and I failed every single one of you." William Hayes, former Marine, 43 years old, crossed his arms. "Why should we trust you?" "You shouldn't. I'm the one who signed the charter giving Victoria Hayes control. I'm the one who didn't supervise. I'm the one who looked away." "Then why are you here?" Marcus looked straight into William's eyes. "Because a 9-year-old girl did what I didn't do. She stood in the rain for 6 weeks. She was pushed down, insulted, threatened. But she didn't stop." Marcus paused. "If a child can fight like that, I have no right to give up." Maria Rodriguez, 34 years old, 3 children, stood up. "What do you want from us? Your stories, your truth. I have a reporter from the Chicago Tribune ready to write an investigative piece. I have lawyers preparing a class action lawsuit, but none of it works without you." "And if we speak out?" William asked. "What happens to us Victoria Hayes called Child Protective Services to threaten the Jenkins family? What will she do to us? I can't promise she won't retaliate, but I can promise I'll fight alongside you every step of the way." James Turner checked in his stitch. 62 years old, gray hair, raised his hand. "I worked 40 years in a factory. When it closed, I thought your program would help me learn a new trade. Instead, I got a letter saying I didn't have enough work history." His voice trembled. 40 years, and they said it wasn't enough. "I know, I read your file. Do you know I almost lost my house? Do you know my wife had to work 2 jobs at age 60? James stood up. "You sat in your air-conditioned office while we were dying out here. You're right. That's it, just you're right. I don't have anything else to say. I failed. I'm sorry, and I'm trying to fix it." Marcus looked around the room. "I know apologies don't pay bills, don't cure diseases, don't bring back lost years, but that's all I have right now, along with a promise." "What promise?" "That I won't stop until everyone in this room gets what they deserve. Not charity, justice." Silence stretched. Then a woman in the back row stood up. Lisa Washington, 45 years old. Nurse. Denied medical assistance after injuring her back at work. "My daughter asked me why I don't fight," Lisa said. "I told her fighting was useless, that rich people always win, that we don't have a voice." She looked at Marcus. "I don't want to teach my daughter that anymore. I'm in." William Hayes sighed. "I have 2 kids. If this affects them—" "It will affect them," Marcus said bluntly. "There will be attention, press, maybe people like Victoria trying to sabotage. I won't lie to you." "At least you're honest." William looked around the room at faces like his, tired but unbroken. "All right, I'm in too." One by one they stood up. Maria, James, a veteran named Robert, a single mother named Angela, 24 people, 24 stories, 24 voices refusing to be silenced. Samuel Carter wrote down each name. "Where do we start?" William asked. Marcus checked his watch. "The Tribune reporter will be here in an hour. Her name is Tasha Monroe. She's been tracking Richard Hayes for 18 months. Now she has the complete picture. And after that we burn." 10:00 a.m., same location. Tasha Monroe walked in with a laptop and 3 decades of investigative experience. 52 years old, salt and pepper hair, sharp eyes that had made many politicians and CEOs tremble. "Mr. Thornton." She shook his hand. "I didn't expect a CEO to torch his own company." "I'm not torching the company, I'm torching the people who betrayed it." "Fascinating." Tasha sat down and opened her laptop. "Show me what you have." For the next 2 hours, Marcus and Samuel presented everything. Thomas's forensic files, bank evidence, internal emails. 87 applications rejected with fabricated reasons. Tasha didn't interrupt. She took notes, asked sharp questions, cross-referenced every claim. Finally, she sat back. "This isn't just embezzlement," she said. "This is systematic fraud targeting the most vulnerable people. Veterans, single parents, elderly, disabled." She looked at Marcus. "And it happened under your watch." "I know. The article won't be kind to you." "I don't need kind. I need truth." Tasha smiled for the first time. "You're different from the CEOs I've met. I've changed. Because of a 9-year-old girl. Because of a girl who refused to give up when everyone else had given up." Marcus stood. "Would you like to interview her?" Tasha looked surprised. She agreed. "I haven't asked yet, but if I know Maya Jenkins, she'll want to tell her story." 11:45 a.m., Jefferson Elementary School. Maya was eating lunch alone when Miss Patterson came. "You have a visitor, Maya, in the principal's office." Maya followed her teacher down the hallway, heart pounding. Visitor who would come to school looking for her. When she opened the door, she saw Marcus Thornton sitting across from an unfamiliar woman. "Maya." Marcus stood up. "This is Tasha Monroe. She's a reporter from the Chicago Tribune." Maya looked at the woman. "You're writing about us." "I'm writing about what happened to your family and 86 other families." Tasha leaned forward. "But I want to hear from you, your story, not what adults tell me. What you actually went through. Maya sat down. She looked at Marcus. You think I should do this? I think you should do what feels right. No one can force you to speak. Maya thought about the past 6 weeks, about the rain, about closed doors, about Gregory Patterson throwing her to the ground, about her mother's face when she cried because finally someone had listened. I'll tell it. For the next 30 minutes, Maya talked. Without stopping, without crying. She told about her mother getting sick, about managing medications since age 7, about bills piling up, about the decision to go downtown looking for help. She told about 200 people who said no, about security calling her a thief, about the man who spit at her, about Gregory Patterson throwing her to the ground, about a single word help and the man who lowered his window. Tasha wrote down everything. When Maya finished, the reporter was silent for a long moment. You're 9 years old, Tasha finally said. You've done things that adults 3 times your age wouldn't dare do. Do you know how special that is? I'm not special. I just didn't have any other choice. That's the definition of courage, Maya. Doing what needs to be done when there's no other choice. 1:30 p.m., outside the school. Maya stepped out the school gate and froze. The gray car was still there. Same spot, same person inside. She recognized him. Gregory Patterson. Her heart raced. She turned and started walking quickly in the other direction, but she heard the car door open. Maya Jenkins. She didn't stop. She walked faster. I just want to talk. Maya started running. Footsteps behind her accelerated. Stop! Maya ran as fast as she could. Around the corner, past the grocery store, into the alley she knew led to the main road. She didn't look back. She ran until her lungs burned, until her legs trembled, until she was certain no one was behind her anymore. She stopped leaning against a wall, gasping for breath. Her phone buzzed. Her mother's number. Baby, where are you? You school let out 20 minutes ago. I'm coming, Mama. Maya tried to keep her voice calm. I stopped to buy water. Okay, come home quick. Patricia called, said there's something important. Maya ended the call and looked around. No gray car, no Gregory Patterson, but she knew he would be back. 2:45 p.m., the Jenkins apartment. Patricia Coleman sat at the kitchen table with a stack of papers. Good news first, she said when Maya walked in. The FBI arrested Richard Hayes in the Cayman Islands this morning. He's being extradited to the U.S. Denise exhaled in relief. What about Victoria? That's the complicated news. Victoria has hired an expensive team of lawyers. They're arguing that she knew nothing about Bridgepoint's operations, that her brother acted alone. That's a lie, Maya exclaimed. She's the one who rejected my mom's application. She's the one who said the fund was empty. I know Maya, but lying isn't a crime. We need evidence that she directly participated in transferring money. What about the emails, the bank records? Patricia sighed. That's the problem. Someone deleted many files from the Thornton Industries server last night, before the FBI could seize them. Maya felt the blood in her body freeze. Victoria. Possibly, but there's no way to prove it. Denise held her daughter's hand. Patricia, what does this mean? It means we need more than what we have. We need witnesses, people from inside willing to speak out. Maya thought about Gregory Patterson, about how he was following her, about how he chased her. The doorman? She said suddenly. Who? Gregory Patterson. He's the one who pushed me down. He works for Victoria. Maya looked at Patricia. He's been following me. I saw his car outside school today. Denise's face went pale. What baby? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want you to worry. Patricia picked up her phone. I'm calling the police. No, Maya shook her head. He'll deny everything. We need him. Need him for what? As a witness. Maya looked straight into Patricia's eyes. He knows Victoria gave him orders. He knows what's going on. If we can make him talk. Maya, that's a grown man who assaulted you. You can't approach him. I don't need to approach him. I just need him scared enough to run. Patricia and Denise looked at Maya with strange eyes. This wasn't how a 9-year-old talked. But Maya Jenkins hadn't been a normal child for a long time. 4:00 p.m., Marcus Thornton's office. Thomas Anderson threw a folder on the desk. Bad news. Someone deleted almost everything related to Bridgepoint from the system. Emails, transaction records, meeting minutes. Marcus clenched his fists. Victoria. Possibly, but she had someone inside helping, someone with admin access. Who? Thomas opened his laptop. Derek Morrison, IT manager. He accessed the system at 3 a.m. and deleted 847 files. Derek. Marcus couldn't believe it. I hired him 10 years ago. I thought... You thought you could trust your people, but Victoria has been here 12 years. She had time to build a network. Marcus stood up and walked to the window. Chicago spread out below. Millions of people living their lives knowing nothing about the war happening in this tower. What do we have left? The copies I downloaded before they were deleted. Not complete, but enough to prove where the money went. Thomas paused. And there's one more thing. What? Gregory Patterson, the doorman who pushed Maya down. What about him? He has a bank account receiving $5,000 monthly from a shell company linked to Bridgepoint for the past 2 years. Marcus turned around. Victoria was paying him. For what exactly, I don't know, but if we can make him talk, he won't talk. He's afraid of Victoria. Everyone's afraid of someone. The question is whether he's more afraid of Victoria or prison. Thomas closed his laptop. The FBI is looking for more witnesses. If Patterson thinks he'll go down with Victoria, he might reconsider. Marcus picked up his phone. Call Tasha Monroe. Tell her I have more information for the article. 5:30 p.m. Cornerstone Community Shelter. The 24 families gathered for the second time, but this time the atmosphere was different, more tense, more anxious. William Hayes stood up first. I got a threatening phone call this morning, unknown number. They said if I talk to the press, they'll reveal my secrets. He clenched his fists. I don't have any secrets, but my wife is scared. Maria Rodriguez raised her hand. Someone called my children's school, asking about their attendance, asking if I neglect them. Whispers spread through the room. Many others had received similar contacts. Threatening calls, anonymous emails, someone digging into their past. Victoria Hayes, Samuel Carter said. She's trying to intimidate all of you into quitting. It's working. Angela Martinez, single mother, 2 children, stood up. I can't risk this. I'm withdrawing. Angela. I'm sorry. I want to fight, but my children are more important than justice. She picked up her purse and headed for the door. Heavy silence blanketed the room. Then the door opened. Maya Jenkins walked in. 24 people watched the girl standing in the doorway, small in her school uniform, backpack hanging from her shoulder. I heard someone's quitting, Maya said. I understand. I'm scared too. Today someone chased me from school. I don't know what he would have done if he caught me. William Hayes looked at the girl. You're still here. Yes, because if I quit, they win. If I stay silent, they win. If I'm scared, they win. Maya looked around the room. I was pushed down. I was called words I can't repeat. I was threatened. But I'm still standing here because my mom needs me to stand, because 86 other families need someone to stand first. The girl stepped to the middle of the room. I'm not asking you to stay. I have no right to ask that. But I want you to know I won't stop. Even if you all leave, even if I'm alone, I'll keep going until they pay the price. James Turner stood up. I'm 62 years old. I worked my whole life and got treated like garbage. But if a 9-year-old can fight, so can I. Lisa Washington stood next. I'm in. Robert Chen. Angela Martinez turned back from the door. One by one, they stood up. 24 people. No one left. William Hayes looked at Maya with wet eyes. Who are you, kid? I'm Maya Jenkins. I'm 9 years old, and I refuse to lose. 7:00 p.m. Victoria Hayes' home. Victoria slammed her phone on the table. They're not quitting, she screamed at Richard through the video screen from the detention center. That girl convinced them all to stay. You need to calm down if you lose control. Don't tell me to calm down. You're sitting in jail while I'm trying to save both of us. Richard sighed. You have a backup plan. Use it. Victoria looked at the USB drive on the table. Falsified evidence blaming Marcus. If she released it, it would create enough chaos to slow everything down. But would it be enough? Gregory Patterson is wavering, she said. The FBI has questioned him twice. If he talks, then handle him. Handle? You think this is a movie? I think this is survival. Richard looked straight into the camera. You've gone too far to stop. Either you win or you go to prison for 20 years. There's no middle ground. Victoria ended the call and sat in darkness. 20 years. She thought about what she had done. $1.4 million. 87 families robbed. Elderly people without medicine money. Hungry children. Veterans living on the streets. She didn't feel guilty. She had never felt guilty. They were just numbers, just names on paper, not real people, but now they were becoming real people, and real people were dangerous. Victoria picked up her phone and called Gregory. "Tomorrow, 8 a.m. I need you at my lawyer's office. We need to talk about your future." 8:30 p.m., the Jenkins apartment. Maya lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mother was asleep. Steady breathing drifted from the next room. Maya couldn't sleep. She thought about tomorrow. Tasha Monroe would publish the article. The world would know their story. Victoria Hayes would counterattack. She didn't know what would happen, but she knew one thing: she wouldn't stop. Her phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. "The article goes live at 6 a.m. Are you ready?" Maya typed back, "I was born ready." She put the phone down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow the real battle would begin. 6:00 a.m. Day 4. The headline appeared on every news platform. The charity con: How Corporate Good Deeds Became a Family Business. Hums. Tasha Monroe, Chicago Tribune. 3,500 words. Forensic files. Testimony from 24 families. Expert analysis. And at the center, the story of Maya Jenkins, the 9-year-old girl who stood in the rain. By 8:00 a.m., the article had gone viral. By 9:00 a.m., the FBI expanded their investigation. By 10:00 a.m., Victoria Hayes' lawyer was on every news channel calling it a witch hunt orchestrated by a disgruntled CEO, but no one believed them anymore. 10:15 a.m., Victoria's lawyer's office. Gregory Patterson sat across from Victoria, hands trembling. "I don't want to be involved in this," he said. "I was just following orders." "You were paid to follow orders. $5,000 a month. 2 years. You think the FBI will believe you're innocent?" Gregory's face went pale. "You can't drag me down with you." "I can, and I will if you don't cooperate." Victoria leaned forward. "Listen to me. The FBI needs witnesses. If you stay silent, I'll take care of you. Best lawyers, bail money, everything. And if you talk, I'll make sure everyone knows you're the one who pushed a 9-year-old girl to the ground. I'll make sure that video is everywhere. You'll never find work in this city again." Gregory looked at her, looked at that cold, unblinking face. "You're a monster." "I'm a survivor, and you should be too." Victoria stood up. "You have 24 hours to decide. Stand with me or stand alone." She left the room, heels clicking steadily on the marble floor. Gregory sat alone in silence. He thought about Maya Jenkins, about the girl's face when he pushed her down, about those eyes that didn't cry, didn't beg, just looked straight at him, as if looking through his soul. He thought about $5,000 a month, about what Victoria made him do, about the families he had chased away, the people he had called vermin and parasites, because that's what Victoria taught him to say. What had he become? Gregory took out his phone and dialed a number. "FBI Chicago, I want to talk to someone about the Victoria Hayes case." 11:30 a.m. Jefferson Elementary School. Maya was in math class when the door opened. Miss Patterson stood in the doorway with a strange expression, half worried, half joyful. "Maya, you have visitors." Maya followed her teacher to the principal's office. Marcus Thornton was waiting, but he wasn't alone. Beside him was a woman in a formal suit with an FBI badge. "Maya, this is Agent Sandra Chen," Charlene, Marcus said. "She wants to talk to you." Maya's heart raced. "What happened?" "Gregory Patterson," Agent Chen said. "He came to the FBI office an hour ago. He wants to talk. He wants to tell everything." Maya couldn't believe her ears. He talked. He's signing a witness agreement right now. In exchange for cooperation, he'll tell everything he knows about Victoria Hayes." Agent Chen smiled. "You did this, Maya. You started all of it." Maya sat down, legs trembling. Gregory Patterson, the man who pushed her down, the man who followed her, the man who called her the worst words she had ever heard. He was telling the truth. "Why?" Maya asked. "Why did he change his mind?" Marcus knelt down to her eye level. "Because of you, Maya. Because you didn't give up. Because you stood before 24 families last night and reminded them why fighting matters." Gregory Patterson heard about it. Someone sent him the video. Video. Samuel recorded the meeting. He wanted evidence of the family's solidarity. Marcus smiled. But what Gregory Patterson saw was a 9-year-old girl saying she wouldn't stop even if she was alone, and he realized he was on the wrong side. Maya looked at Marcus, at Agent Chen, at Miss Patterson crying at the door. "Did we win?" "Not yet." Marcus stood up. "Victoria Hayes still has lawyers, still has allies on the board, still has backup plans. But now we have a witness." Now? Oh, yep, now we have a real chance. What's the next step? Public hearing. Chicago City Council. They want to hear from the affected families. Marcus looked at Maya. They want to hear from you. Maya thought about that. Standing before a room full of adults, telling her story, letting the world see. I'll do it. Are you sure there will be cameras, there will be press, there will be people trying to silence you? Maya looked straight into Marcus's eyes. I stood in the rain for 6 weeks. I was pushed down, chased, called words I can't repeat. I asked 200 people for help and was rejected 199 times. The girl stood up. I'm not afraid of a room full of people. Marcus nodded. The hearing's tomorrow, 9 a.m., Chicago City Hall. Maya looked out the window. Chicago spread outside, vast and scary and full of people who didn't yet know her story. Tomorrow they would know. Tomorrow everything would change. 5:30 a.m., the day of the hearing. Maya woke before her alarm. She lay still, a skittle in the darkness, listening to her mother's breathing from the next room. Steady, peaceful. Denise had slept well for the first time in weeks. Maya couldn't sleep. She had been awake all night thinking about what would happen today. Public hearing. Chicago City Hall. Cameras. Reporters. Hundreds of people she didn't know. And she would have to stand before all of them and tell her story. Maya slipped out of bed and walked to the window. The sky was still dark. Streetlights flickered below. Somewhere in the city, Victoria Hayes was also awake, also preparing for today. Her phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. Car will pick you and your mom up at 7:30. Don't worry, you're not alone. Maya typed back, I know, thank you. She put the phone down and looked in the mirror. A 9-year-old girl stared back. Thin, tired, but not weak. You can do this, she whispered to herself. You've come this far. You won't stop now. 7:00 a.m., the Jenkins apartment. Denise sat in her wheelchair, hands trembling as she tried to button her blouse. Mama, let me. Maya knelt down and buttoned each one carefully. Baby, I should be the one taking care of you, not the other way around. We take care of each other. That's how family works. Denise held her daughter's hand. I'm proud of you. You know that. Yes. No, you don't. You don't know how proud I am. Denise pulled Maya close. When I got sick, I thought my life was over. I thought I had failed you. But looking at you now, I realize I did one thing right. I raised a warrior. Maya hugged her mother, held tight, felt her heartbeat through the thin fabric. I love you, Mama. I love you too, more than anything in the world. The doorbell rang. The car had arrived. 7:45 a.m. on the way to City Hall. The black SUV glided through Chicago streets. Marcus sat in front. Maya and Denise in back. Patricia Coleman, their lawyer, sat across from them. Maya, I need you to understand what's going to happen, Patricia said. Victoria's lawyers will be there. They'll try to discredit you. They'll ask hard questions. I know. They might say you're lying, that you were coached, that Marcus Thornton paid your family to make up stories. They can say whatever they want. The truth is still the truth. Patricia looked at Maya for a long moment. Are you really only 9 years old? 9 is old enough to know right from wrong. Marcus turned around from the front seat. Maya, after today's hearing, your life will be different. People will recognize you on the street. Press will want interviews. There will be supporters and there will be haters. I know. You still want to do this. Maya looked out the window. Chicago was waking up. Early commuters, buses full of passengers, millions of people living their lives not knowing her story. I don't have a choice, Mr. Thornton. If I stay silent, 86 other families will stay silent too. If I give up, they'll give up too. She turned back to look at him. I'm not doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because someone has to. 8:30 a.m., Chicago City Hall. The crowd had gathered outside. Reporters with cameras, supporters with banners, protesters with signs accusing Marcus Thornton of being a fraud. Maya stepped out of the car and froze. She had never seen so many people, never seen so many cameras, never heard so much shouting. Maya Jenkins, look here. Little girl, do you have any comment? Did Marcus Thornton pay your family? Denise gripped her daughter's hand tight. Don't look at them. Look straight ahead. Keep walking. Maya lowered her head and followed her mother through the crowd. Security cleared a path for them. The City Hall doors closed behind them, cutting off the noise. Inside, the 24 families were already waiting. William Hayes approached Maya. You okay, kid? I'm okay. Maya lied. Her hands were shaking. It's fine to be scared. We're all scared. William knelt down to her eye level. But being scared doesn't mean being weak. Being scared means you understand what's happening. What matters is you're still here despite being scared. Maya nodded. Let's go. They're waiting. 8:55 a.m. The hearing room. The room was packed. The city council sat on a raised platform. In the center was Chairman James Richardson, 58 years old, salt and pepper hair, stern face but kind eyes. On the left side were the 24 families, Marquis, and Marcus's team. On the right side was Victoria Hayes with her army of lawyers. Victoria looked different. No longer the cold, confident demeanor. Her eyes had dark circles. Her hands gripped a pen tightly. She knew Gregory Patterson had betrayed her. She knew the walls were crumbling, but she hadn't lost yet. Chairman Richardson banged his gavel. The hearing on allegations of fraud in corporate charity programs is now in session. First witness, please call William Hayes. 9:05 a.m. William Hayes' testimony. William stepped up to the witness stand. 43 years old. Former Marine, 2 tours in Afghanistan. Scars that couldn't be seen. My name is William Hayes. I served this country for 12 years. 2 tours in combat zones. I came home with PTSD and a broken back. His voice was steady but heavy. When I applied for housing assistance from the Second Chance Initiative, I did everything right. Filled every box, submitted every document. I thought the system would finally help me. He paused. A month later, I got a rejection letter. The reason, criminal background. His voice trembled. I don't have a criminal record, not a single parking ticket in my life. But they sent that letter to my children's school, to my landlord, to my family. He looked straight at Victoria Hayes. My daughter is 7 years old. She asked me why people say Daddy is a bad person. I had no answer. His voice broke. I fought for this country. I bled for this country, and this is how they treat me. Silence in the hearing room. Victoria's lawyer stood up. Mr. Hayes, do you have evidence that Thornton Industries intentionally sent false information? I have the letter. I have my clean FBI record. Someone lied. That could be an administrative error. An administrative error doesn't send letters to my child's school. Someone chose to do that. Someone wanted to destroy me. The lawyer sat down. 9:25 a.m. Maria Rodriguez's testimony. Maria stepped up with unsteady steps. I'm a single mother, 3 children. The oldest is 10. The youngest is 4. Her voice trembled. When I lost my job, I didn't know how to feed them. I applied for food assistance from the Thornton program. She wiped her tears. They said I didn't qualify because my income was too high. My income was $800 a month from unemployment. $800 for 4 people? She looked at the council. Do you know how much $800 is? That's rent money. Just rent. Nothing left for food, nothing for electricity, nothing for school. Mrs. Rodriguez, a council member, asked, what did you do after being rejected? I begged for food, Maria said bluntly. I stood outside churches and asked people for food for my children. Me, a woman who once had a good job, who had a house, who had a future, standing there begging because someone decided $800 was too much money. Heavy silence. And while I was begging, $1.4 million from that program was flowing into Victoria Hayes' and her brother's accounts. Maria turned to look at Victoria. You stole my children's future. You stole my dignity, and you thought you could get away with it. Victoria didn't look at her. Her eyes stayed fixed on the paper in front of her. 10:00 a.m. Gregory Patterson's testimony. This was when everything changed. Gregory Patterson stepped up to the stand with handcuffs and 2 FBI agents beside him. My name is Gregory Patterson. I worked at Thornton Tower for 14 years as a doorman. His voice was hoarse. And I did things I'm not proud of. He looked at Maya. The girl sat in the front row, small among the adults. 2 years ago, Victoria Hayes came to me. She said she needed someone to help screen people coming to apply for assistance. She said many of them were scammers, that I was protecting the company. Did she pay you, Darinu? Chairman Richardson asked. $5,000 a month, transferred to a separate account. I didn't pay taxes on it. Gregory lowered his head. I knew it was wrong, but the money was too much, and I convinced myself I was doing the right thing. What specifically were you asked to do? Chase away people coming to apply for assistance, especially people of color, elderly, disabled. Gregory swallowed. Victoria said they were the easiest. They wouldn't fight back. They wouldn't have money for lawyers. They would accept rejection and disappear. And the girl Maya Jenkins, Gregory looked at Maya again. His eyes were wet. She came every day after school. For 6 weeks. I chased her away every time. I called her words. He stopped. Words I'm ashamed to remember. I pushed her down. I made her bleed. Why? Because Victoria ordered me to. Because I was afraid of losing the money. Because I had forgotten how to be human. Gregory looked straight at the camera. But she didn't stop. No matter what I did, she kept coming back. And one day I realized I was fighting for the wrong side. Victoria's lawyer stood up. You're testifying in exchange for a lighter plea deal, correct? Correct. So your testimony could be motivated by self-interest. My self-interest is not going to prison, but the truth is still the truth. Gregory looked at Victoria. I have emails, messages, call recordings. I kept everything because I knew one day Victoria would try to blame me, and I was right. Victoria's face went white. I can provide everything to the FBI, Gregory continued. Every directive Victoria ever sent, every time she ordered me to handle someone. Everything. Chairman Richardson banged his gavel. 15-minute recess. 10:20 a.m., City Hall hallway. Maya sat on a bench, knees trembling. Are you okay? Denise asked. Yes, it's just a lot. Marcus came to sit beside them. Maya, after the recess, it's your turn. Do you still want to testify? Yes. You don't have to. We already have enough testimony. I have to do it. Maya stood up. I started all this. I'll finish it. At the end of the hallway, Victoria Hayes was talking urgently with her legal team. Her face was red, her hands waving frantically. She was losing control. One of the lawyers shook his head and walked away. Then another. Victoria stood alone, watching them leave with wild eyes. Marcus stood up and walked toward her. Victoria? She turned around. Stay away from me. It's not too late. If you plead guilty, if you cooperate with the FBI, you could reduce your sentence. Reduce my sentence. Victoria laughed bitterly. You think I'll go to prison for those people? They're nobody. They're zeros. They're human beings. Marcus's voice went cold. They're veterans who bled for this country. They're mothers trying to feed their children. They're elderly people without medicine money. They're not zeros, Victoria. You're the one who turned them into zeros. Victoria looked at him with hate-filled eyes. You'll regret this. I have evidence of what you've done. Decisions you signed. People you ignored. Release it. I have nothing left to lose. You have everything to lose. The company, your reputation, your legacy. Marcus smiled sadly. You don't understand, do you? I already lost those things long ago. I just didn't realize it. He turned his back. What I'm rebuilding now can't be stolen, because it's not mine. It belongs to those 87 families. It belongs to Maya Jenkins. It belongs to the truth. He walked away. Victoria stood alone in the empty hallway. 10:35 a.m. The hearing resumes. Chairman Richardson banged his gavel. Next witness, Maya Jenkins. Maya stood up. Her feet felt like lead as she walked toward the witness stand. She could feel every eye in the room on her. Cameras, reporters, the 24 families, Victoria Hayes. She climbed into the witness chair. It was too high, her feet didn't touch the floor. Chairman Richardson looked at her with gentle eyes. Maya, you may begin whenever you're ready. Maya took a deep breath. My name is Maya Jenkins. I'm 9 years old. I live on the south side with my mom, Denise Jenkins. Her voice trembled, but she continued. My mom has MS. She used to be a kindergarten teacher. She used to serve in the army. She's the best person I know. Maya looked at her mother. Denise was crying. When my mom got sick, everything changed. I had to learn how to manage medications, learn how to call the electric company, learn how to ask for rent extensions. She paused. I was 7 years old when I started doing those things. Silence in the hearing room. I'm not telling this story so people will feel sorry for me. I'm telling it so people will understand. Maya looked around the room. There are thousands of kids like me, kids who had to grow up too fast, kids who don't have a childhood, kids who have to fight every day just to survive. She turned to look at Victoria Hayes. When I submitted the assistance application for my mom, I did everything right. I filled it out 3 times. I sent it by certified mail. I made sure there were no mistakes. Her voice hardened. But she rejected it. She said my mom missed the deadline. She said the fund was out of money. She lied. Maya, Tlomni. Victoria's remaining lawyer stood up. Do you have evidence that Ms. Hayes directly? I have the postal receipt. I have the rejection letter. The dates don't match. Maya didn't tremble anymore. And I have 6 weeks standing in the rain asking people for help. 6 weeks. Yes, every day after school. I went downtown and asked people to listen. 200 people said no. They chased me away. They called the police. They called me words I can't repeat. Maya's voice broke. A man spit at me. A woman called me a parasite. Gregory Patterson pushed me down and made me bleed. The hearing room was silent as death. But I didn't stop, because my mom needed me not to stop, because 86 other families needed someone not to stop. Maya looked straight at the camera. I'm just a child. I don't have money. I don't have power. I don't have anything except one word. What word? Chairman Richardson asked. Help. Maya turned to look at Marcus. I said that word to 200 people. 199 people ignored it. One person stopped. Marcus nodded, his eyes wet. I'm not telling this story to become a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just a child with no other choice. Maya looked at Victoria one last time. But she had choices. She could have helped. She could have rejected fairly. She could have been a decent person, but she chose to steal. She chose to lie. She chose to hurt people who couldn't defend themselves. Maya stood up on the witness chair. I'm 9 years old. I can't vote. I can't change laws. I can't do much. But I can tell the truth. And the truth is, Victoria Hayes stole from the most desperate families in this city, and she thought she could get away with it because we were too small for anyone to care. She looked around the room. We're not small. We're 87 families. We're hundreds of children. We're mothers, fathers, grandparents, veterans. We're Americans. And we deserve to be treated like human beings. Maya stepped down from the stand. The hearing room exploded. Applause, cheering. People stood up. Camera flashes went off continuously. Denise sobbed as Maya ran into her arms. Baby, Denise held her daughter tight. I'm so proud of you. So proud. 11:15 a.m. The council's decision. Chairman Richardson banged his gavel multiple times to restore order. The Chicago City Council has heard sufficient testimony. We will deliberate for 30 minutes. The longest 30 minutes of Maya's life. She sat between her mother and Marcus' hands, gripping both of theirs tightly. The 24 families sat behind them, silent, waiting. Victoria Hayes sat alone on the other side of the room. Her last lawyer had left. She looked small, lonely, pathetic, almost pathetic. Maya thought about Maria Rodriguez begging for food outside churches, about William Hayes explaining to his daughter why people called Daddy a bad person, about James Turner losing his home after 40 years of work. No, Victoria wasn't pathetic. Victoria was the cause. 11:45 a.m. The verdict. The council returned. Chairman Richardson stood up with a paper in his hand. The Chicago City Council has reviewed all testimony and evidence presented today. We find clear evidence of systematic fraud in corporate charity programs, particularly the Second Chance initiative of Thornton Industries. He looked at Victoria. We recommend the FBI conduct a comprehensive investigation and prosecute those responsible. We also recommend passing new legislation requiring independent audits of all corporate charity programs. He turned to Marcus. Regarding Mr. Thornton, although you did not directly participate in the fraud, your lack of oversight allowed it to happen. However, your actions in exposing the truth and supporting the victims show commitment to making amends. We recommend you continue working with the affected families. Finally, he looked at Maya. And regarding Maya Jenkins. His voice softened. You have shown us what true courage is. Not the absence of fear, but acting despite fear. You have reminded all of us that one person, no matter how small, can change everything. He banged his gavel. The hearing is concluded. 12:00 p.m. outside City Hall. The crowd outside had doubled, but this time there were no protesters, only supporters. Banners with Maya's name. Slogans reading, "Number 8 says yes." Pictures of the 24 families. Maya stepped out and froze. People were chanting her name. Maya, Maya, Maya. Denise gripped her daughter's hand tight. You see, you changed everything. Maya said nothing. She just looked at the crowd, at the faces of strangers crying, because of her story, cheering for a child they had never met. Marcus came to stand beside her. Maya, the press wants interviews. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Maya looked at the cameras, at the reporters, at the world waiting. I'll say one thing. She stepped forward to the microphone placed on the steps. My name is Maya Jenkins. I'm 9 years old. Her voice rang through the speakers. Today I told my story, but there are thousands of other stories not being told. Thousands of kids like me. Thousands of families like mine. She looked straight at the main camera. I ask one thing of you. Don't just hear my story and forget. Look around. See the people who need help. Stop when someone says help. She smiled. because number 8 might say yes, and number 8 could be you. She stepped away from the microphone. The crowd erupted. 1:30 p.m., the car ride home. Maya sat in silence looking out the window. "Are you okay, baby?" Denise asked. "Yes, just tired." Marcus turned around from the front seat. "Maya, I have news for you. The FBI just arrested Victoria Hayes. She's being taken to federal detention." Maya didn't react. "Aren't you happy?" "I don't know what I feel." Maya looked at her hands. "I hate her. But I don't know. How long will she be in prison?" "Could be 10 years, maybe more." 10 years, Maya repeated. "That's my whole childhood." "She deserves it." "I know, but..." Maya looked at her mother. "Do you think she has a mom? Does she have someone who loves her?" Denise hugged her daughter. "Baby, you're the kindest child I know. Even after everything she did to us, you still think of her as a human being." "Is that a bad thing?" "No, baby. That's what makes you different from her. She looked at us and saw numbers. You look at her and see a human being." Denise kissed her daughter's forehead. "Never lose that." The car stopped in front of their apartment. Maya stepped out and froze. Neighbors were standing outside. Mr. Coleman, Mrs. Martinez from the 3rd floor. Kids she used to play with before everything became too heavy. They applauded when she appeared. Maya, Mr. Coleman stepped forward. "You made us proud. The whole neighborhood is proud of you." Maya didn't know what to say. She just stood there among the neighbors, among the admiring gazes, and realized she wasn't alone anymore. She had never been alone. She just hadn't seen it. 3:00 p.m., the Jenkins apartment. Patricia Coleman sat at the kitchen table with a stack of papers. "I have official news," she said. "Victoria Hayes has been formally charged with wire fraud conspiracy to commit fraud and money laundering. Combined with Gregory Patterson's testimony, the case is solid." Denise exhaled. "What about Richard? He's cooperating with the FBI in exchange for a reduced sentence. He's providing evidence against Victoria." Maya sat by the window looking out at the city. "What happens to the 87 families?" she asked. "Marcus has established a restitution fund, $5 million. Every family will receive full compensation plus damages." Patricia smiled. "It's not just charity, Maya, it's justice." "And the new law. The city council is drafting legislation requiring independent audits of all corporate charity programs. They're calling it the Maya Jenkins Act." Maya turned around. "They're naming a law after me." "You earned it." Patricia stood up. "You changed the system, Maya. Not many people can say that." After Patricia left, Denise wheeled over to her daughter. "How do you feel, baby?" "Strange." Maya looked at her hands. "A week ago I was standing in the rain begging people to listen. Now they're naming laws after me." "That's what happens when you don't give up." "Mama, do you think things will really change? Or will people forget in a few months?" Denise held her daughter's hand. "Baby, you can't control what others do. You can only control what you do. And you did everything you could. You did more than anyone could expect from a 9-year-old. But what if it's not enough? Then you keep going, like you've always done." Denise smiled. "Remember what you told those 24 families number 8 might say yes. You found your number 8. Now you help others find theirs." 5:00 p.m. Phone call from Marcus. "Maya, I have one more thing to tell you." "What is it?" "The 24 families have decided to form a non-profit organization. They're calling it the 24 Project. The goal is to help other families facing similar situations." "That's great." "They want you on the advisory board." Maya was silent. "Maya?" "Mr. Thornton, I'm 9 years old." "I know, but you did what no adult could do. You brought them together. You gave them courage. They want you there." Maya thought about that. A 9-year-old on the board of a nonprofit organization. It sounded absurd, but so did a 9-year-old standing in the rain for 6 weeks asking strangers for help. "I'll do it." "Good. The first meeting is next week. Samuel Carter will run day-to-day operations, but they want you at major meetings." "Mr. Thornton." "Yes." "Thank you for stopping, for listening, for believing me." Silence on the line. Then Marcus's voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Maya, for making me stop, for making me see, for reminding me who I used to be before I forgot." "Who were you?" "A kid from 63rd and Ashland who believed he could change the world." Marcus paused. "I forgot that kid for a long time. You helped me remember." 7:00 p.m. Dinner at the Jenkins apartment. For the first time in years, Maya and Denise sat together at dinner without worrying about money. The refrigerator was full. The electricity was paid for 6 months ahead. Medications were fully stocked. The eviction notice was gone. "Baby, do you remember when you used to ask me what we were having for dinner?" Denise asked. "Yes, and you'd always say whatever's in the fridge." "And there usually wasn't much in the fridge." "I know, Mama. I always knew." Denise's eyes welled up. I'm sorry I couldn't provide better." "Mama, stop." Maya reached across to hold her mother's hand. "You did everything you could. You loved me. You protected me. You taught me to be strong. That's more than many people have. When did you become so wise?" "When I had to be." Maya smiled. "But I'm still 9 years old. I still want to play. I still want to watch cartoons. I still want to be a kid sometimes." Denise laughed through her tears. "Then be a kid, baby. You've earned it." 8:30 p.m. Maya's room. Maya sat by the window looking out at Chicago at night. Her phone was full of messages, from classmates, from strangers, from reporters wanting interviews, from organizations wanting to give awards. She didn't answer any of them. Denise came to sit beside her. "What are you thinking about, baby?" "About tomorrow?" "What about tomorrow?" Maya smiled. "I don't know. And for the first time in a long time, that doesn't scare me." Denise held her daughter's hand. "I love you." "I love you too, Mama." They sat in silence looking at Chicago at night. Somewhere in the city, Victoria Hayes was in a cold cell. Somewhere the 24 families were beginning to believe in the future. Somewhere Marcus Thornton was planning how to repair what he had broken. And here in the small apartment on South Cottage Grove, a 9-year-old girl could finally rest. Maya closed her eyes. Tomorrow she would wake up and start again. But tonight she was allowed to be a child. Just a child. And that was enough. 10:00 p.m. Final thoughts. Before she fell asleep, Maya took out the drawing she had made at art class. The Bentley with wings. The car that took her somewhere she couldn't reach on her own. She taped it to the refrigerator door. Tomorrow she would go to school. She would face her classmates. She would answer questions. She would continue living. But tonight she looked at that drawing and remembered. One word. One man who stopped. One chance that changed everything. Number 8 said yes, and Maya Jenkins's life would never be the same. 2 weeks later. The apartment on South Cottage Grove looked different. Not fancy, not transformed into something from a magazine, but lighter. There was food in the refrigerator. Real food, not just eggs and bread. The heat was on. Denise's medications were lined up on the counter, all refilled. The overdue bills that used to cover the kitchen table were gone, replaced by a small vase with fresh flowers Denise had bought herself because she could. Maya had new sneakers. She picked them out herself at the store. Red high tops with white laces. They didn't have holes. They fit. 7:30 a.m. A Tuesday morning. Maya stood in front of the mirror adjusting her backpack straps. Today was her first day back at school since the hearing. 2 weeks of media frenzy. 2 weeks of phone calls from strangers. 2 weeks of her face on every news channel in Chicago. Now she had to face her classmates. "Baby, are you sure you're ready?" Denise wheeled into the doorway. "No," Maya admitted, "but I have to go sometime." "You could wait another week," the school said. "If I wait, it'll only get harder." Maya turned around. "I learned that from standing in the rain. Remember? The longer you wait, the harder it gets." Denise smiled through tears she was trying to hide. "When did you become so brave?" "I'm not brave, Mama. I'm just tired of being scared." Maya kissed her mother's cheek and walked out the door. 8:15 a.m. Jefferson Elementary School. The moment Maya walked through the school gates, everything stopped. Kids turned to stare. Teachers paused mid-conversation. Even the janitor stopped sweeping to look at her. Maya kept walking. "That's her," someone whispered. "The girl from the news." "My mom says she's a hero. My dad says she took down a whole company." Maya reached her classroom door and paused. Through the small window she could see her classmates already seated. Tyler Martinez was in his usual spot. Jessica Thompson was whispering to her friends. Maya pushed open the door. Silence. Every eye turned to her. Miss Patterson stood up from her desk. "Class, Maya is back with us today. I expect everyone to treat her with the same respect you'd want to be treated with." Maya walked to her desk, the same desk she'd sat in for 3 years, the same desk where she'd done homework while worrying about whether the electricity would be cut off. She sat down. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Tyler Martinez stood up. Maya's heart sank. Here it comes, she thought. The insults, the accusations, the same treatment she'd gotten before the hearing. But Tyler didn't insult her. I'm sorry, he said. Maya blinked. What? I said I'm sorry. For what I said before. For calling your family scammers. For pushing you in the hallway. Tyler's voice cracked. My mom made me watch the whole hearing. She cried. I've never seen her cry like that. Jessica Thompson stood up next. I'm sorry, too. I didn't understand what you were going through. One by one, other students stood, apologizing, some crying, some just nodding at Maya with newfound respect. Maya didn't know what to say. Miss Patterson walked over and put a hand on her shoulder. Welcome back, Maya. For the first time in weeks, Maya smiled. 10:30 a.m., recess. Maya sat alone on the bench watching other kids play. She wasn't sad. She just needed time to process everything. A shadow fell across her. She looked up to see a girl she didn't recognize. Maybe 7 years old, small, nervous. Are you Maya Jenkins? Yes. The Maya Jenkins from TV. I guess so. The girl sat down beside her without asking. My mom is sick too, like your mom. She can't work anymore. Maya's heart tightened. I'm sorry. We got a letter last week from the city. They said there's a new program to help families like us. They said you helped make it happen. Maya didn't know what to say. My mom cried when she read the letter. Good tears. The girl looked at Maya with eyes too old for her age. She said someone finally listened. What's your name? Emma Collins. Emma, can I tell you something? Yes. It gets better. I know it doesn't feel like it now. I know everything feels impossible, but it gets better. Maya reached out and held the girl's hand. And if you ever need help, you ask. You keep asking until someone says yes, because number 8 might say yes. Number 8, I'll explain someday. Maya smiled. For now, just remember, you're not alone. Emma hugged her, a sudden tight hug from a stranger who wasn't really a stranger at all. She was Maya 2 months ago, and Maya would make sure Emma didn't have to fight alone. 12:00 p.m., principal's office. Maya was called out of class. Principal Morrison, a stern woman in her 60s, sat behind her desk with an unusual expression. Not angry, not disappointed. Something else. Maya, please sit down. Maya sat heart pounding. Did I do something wrong? No, quite the opposite. Principal Morrison slid a letter across the desk. This arrived this morning, from the governor's office. Maya picked up the letter with trembling hands. Dear Miss Jenkins, on behalf of the state of Illinois, I am honored to invite you to the governor's mansion for a special ceremony recognizing your extraordinary courage and contribution to social justice. Maya stopped reading. The governor wants to meet me. More than that, he wants to give you an award, the Illinois Medal of Civic Courage. Principal Morrison smiled the first real smile Maya had ever seen from her. It's the highest honor the state gives to civilians. You'll be the youngest recipient in history. I don't understand. I just asked for help. You did more than ask for help, Maya. You changed the conversation. You made people see what they'd been ignoring. Principal Morrison leaned forward. I've been an educator for 40 years. I've seen a lot of children, but I've never seen one like you. Maya looked at the letter again. The governor's mansion. An award. Her name in history books. 2 months ago, she was standing in the rain being called a parasite. Can my mom come? She asked quietly. Your mother, Mr. Thornton, the 24 families, everyone involved is invited. The ceremony is next Saturday. Maya folded the letter carefully. I need to tell my mom. Of course, take the rest of the day off if you need to. Maya stood up, then paused at the door. Principal Morrison? Yes. Thank you for everything. Principal Morrison nodded, and Maya could have sworn she saw tears in the older woman's eyes. 1:30 p.m., the Jenkins apartment. Maya burst through the door, waving the letter. Mama, Mama! Denise wheeled out from the bedroom, alarmed. Baby, what's wrong? Why are you home early? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. Maya thrust the letter into her mother's hands. Read it. Denise read. Her hand started shaking halfway through. The governor, she whispered. The governor of Illinois. He wants to give me an award, Mama, at the governor's mansion, with everyone there. Denise burst into tears. "Mama, don't cry. It's good news." "I know, baby. I know." Denise pulled Maya into her lap, something she hadn't been able to do since she got sick, because she was always too weak. But today she found the strength. "I'm just so proud, so incredibly proud." They held each other in the small kitchen of their small apartment, and for a moment the world was perfect. 3:00 p.m. Phone call from Marcus. "Maya, I heard the news. Congratulations." "Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Are you coming to the ceremony?" "I wouldn't miss it." Marcus paused. "Maya, I have something else to tell you. The board of directors met this morning." "What happened?" "They officially approved the restructuring of the Second Chance Initiative. Independent oversight, community advisory board, transparent reporting, everything we fought for." "That's great." "There's more. They want to expand the program nationally, other cities, other states. They're calling it the Second Chance National Initiative." Another pause. "And they want you to be the honorary chair." Maya almost dropped the phone. "Me, you're the reason any of this happened. Your face will be on the materials. Your story will be told. You'll help decide how the program runs." "Mr. Thornton, I'm 9 years old." "You keep saying that, and I keep telling you age doesn't determine impact. Character does. Courage does. You have more of both than most adults I know." Maya sat down on the kitchen chair, overwhelmed. "I need to think about it." "Take all the time you need. There's no pressure." Marcus's voice softened. "Maya, whatever you decide, I want you to know you already changed the world. Everything else is extra." 4:30 p.m. Cornerstone Community Shelter. Maya walked into the shelter where everything had really begun, where she'd first met Samuel Carter, where the 24 families had gathered. Samuel was at his usual desk, buried in paperwork. "Maya." He jumped up and hugged her. "I heard about the governor's award. That's incredible." "Thanks." Maya sat down across from him. "Samuel, I need advice." "From me?" "You know these families better than anyone. You've been fighting for them longer than I have." Samuel leaned back. "What do you need advice about?" "About the national program. They want me to be the honorary chair, but I don't know. I don't know if I should." "Why not?" "Because I'm a kid, because I got lucky, because one man happened to lower his window and listen." Maya's voice cracked. "What if I'm not who they think I am? What if I'm just ordinary?" Samuel looked at her for a long moment. "Maya, do you know why I became a paralegal?" "No." "Because when I was 12, my family lost our house. We were homeless for 6 months. I watched my mother beg for food. I watched my father drink himself to sleep because he couldn't handle the shame." Samuel's eyes glistened. "No one helped us. No one stopped. We were invisible." "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. That experience made me who I am. It made me want to fight for people like us." Samuel reached across and held Maya's hand. "You're not ordinary, Maya. Ordinary people don't stand in the rain for 6 weeks. Ordinary people don't face down billion-dollar corporations. Ordinary people don't change laws. But I didn't do it alone?" "No one does anything alone. That's the point. You started something. You inspired others. You created a movement." Samuel smiled. "That's not luck. That's leadership." Maya thought about his words. "What should I do?" "Whatever feels right. But Maya," Samuel squeezed her hand, "don't let fear of failure stop you. You've already succeeded beyond anything anyone could have imagined. Everything else is just continuing the work." 6:00 p.m. The 24 families meeting. The community room was full. William Hayes, Maria Rodriguez, James Turner, Lisa Washington, all 24 families who had refused to stay silent, all 24 families who had chosen truth over money, and in the front row, Denise Jenkins in her wheelchair beaming with pride. Marcus stood at the podium. "Thank you all for coming. I have updates on our progress." He clicked to the first slide. "Victoria Hayes was sentenced yesterday, 12 years in federal prison, no parole for at least 8 years. Gasps, then applause. "Richard Hayes received 6 years. He's cooperating with investigations into similar schemes in other states." More applause. "Gregory Patterson received 3 years probation and community service. He's agreed to speak at corporate ethics seminars as part of his sentence." William Hayes raised his hand. "What about the money, the $1.4 million she stole? Most of it has been recovered from offshore accounts. Combined with the restitution fund I established, every family in this room will receive full compensation within the next 30 days. Maria Rodriguez started crying. James Turner put his arm around her. But that's not why I called this meeting. Marcus looked at Maya. Maya, would you come up here? Maya walked to the podium on legs that felt unsteady. Most of you know this young lady, Marcus said. She's the reason we're all here. She's the reason Victoria Hayes is in prison. She's the reason the law is changing. He turned to face Maya directly. Maya, I want to officially apologize. On behalf of Thornton Industries, on behalf of myself, I created a program meant to help people like your family, and I let someone turn it into a weapon against you. Mr. Thornton, let me finish. His voice was thick. I was so busy building an empire that I forgot why I started building in the first place. I forgot where I came from. I forgot the people who needed help the most. He paused. You reminded me. A 9-year-old girl in the rain reminded me of everything I'd forgotten. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. This belonged to my mother. She wore it every day until she died. He opened the box. Inside was a simple gold locket. She used to say it reminded her to never forget where she came from, to never forget the people who were still struggling. He held it out to Maya. I want you to have it. Maya stared at the locket. Mr. Thornton, I can't. You can, you should. Marcus pressed it into her hands. You carry her spirit better than I ever did. You deserve to carry her memory too.
Český systém vydává.
Maya opened the locket. Inside was a small photograph of a young black woman with fierce, determined eyes. She looked strong, Maya whispered. She was, just like you. Maya closed the locket and held it against her heart. Thank you. The room erupted in applause. 8:00 p.m., walking home. Maya and Denise walked home slowly. Well, Maya walked. Denise rolled beside her in her wheelchair. The night was cool but not cold. The streets were quiet. Mama, can I ask you something? Anything, baby. Do you think Dad would be proud of me? Denise stopped her wheelchair. Maya rarely talked about her father. He had left when she was 3. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. Baby, why are you asking about him? I don't know, everyone keeps saying how proud they are, Mr. Thornton, the families, the governor, but I keep wondering if... Maya's voice trailed off. Denise reached out and pulled her daughter close. Your father made a choice, Maya. He chose to leave. He chose to walk away from us. Her voice was steady but sad. I can't speak for him. I don't know what he thinks or feels, but I can tell you this, anyone who isn't proud of you doesn't deserve to be part of your life. Do you think he knows about what I did? Maybe. The news has been everywhere. Do you think he'll come back? Denise was quiet for a long moment. Do you want him to come back? Maya thought about it, really thought about it. No, she said finally. I don't. We have each other. We have our friends. We have the 24 families. We don't need someone who didn't want us. Denise hugged her daughter so tight she could barely breathe. I love you so much, baby. I love you too, Mama. They continued walking home hand in hand under a sky full of stars. Saturday, the governor's mansion. The ceremony was everything Maya had imagined and nothing like she expected. Hundreds of people in formal attire, cameras everywhere. The governor himself, a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes, standing at a podium with the state seal behind him. Maya wore a new dress, the first new dress she'd had in 2 years. Denise wore a beautiful blue gown that Miss Patterson had helped her pick out. The 24 families sat in the front rows, all dressed in their best. Marcus sat beside Maya, looking uncomfortable in his tuxedo, but smiling nonetheless. Nervous? He whispered. Terrified, Maya whispered back. Good. That means you're human. The governor stepped to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather today to recognize extraordinary courage. Courage that doesn't come from physical strength or political power, but from something far more precious, the refusal to accept injustice. He looked directly at Maya. Maya Jenkins is 9 years old. She lives on the south side of Chicago with her mother who suffers from multiple sclerosis. By any measure, she is among the most vulnerable members of our society. He paused. But Maya Jenkins is also the bravest person I have ever met. Murmurs rippled through the audience. When her family was denied assistance, they qualified for Maya didn't accept it. When she was turned away, she came back. When she was pushed down, she got up. When 199 people said no, she asked the 200th. The governor held up the medal. The Illinois Medal of Civic Courage is our state's highest civilian honor. It has been awarded to war heroes, civil rights leaders, and pioneers of justice. Today, I am proud to award it to Maya Jenkins, the youngest recipient in our state's history." Maya walked to the podium on legs that trembled. The governor placed the medal around her neck. It was heavy, solid, real. "Maya, would you like to say a few words?" Maya looked at the crowd, at the cameras, at her mother crying in the front row, at the 24 families who had become her extended family, at Marcus, who had stopped his car and changed her life. She leaned into the microphone. "I'm not good at speeches," she began. "I'm 9 years old. I'm better at math homework and drawing pictures." Soft laughter. "But I want to say something to everyone watching, not just the people in this room, but the people at home, the people who are struggling right now, the people who feel invisible." Her voice steadied. "You are not invisible. I see you. The 24 families see you. Mr. Thornton sees you. And now after everything that happened, I hope the world sees you too." She touched the medal around her neck. "I didn't do anything special. I just refused to give up. That's not courage. That's desperation. When you have nothing left to lose, you'll try anything." She looked at her mother. "The real heroes are the parents who work 3 jobs to feed their kids. The real heroes are the veterans who served their country and came home broken. The real heroes are the single mothers who choose between medicine and food. They're the ones who deserve medals. I'm just a kid who got lucky." She paused. "But if my luck can help change things, if my story can make people pay attention, then it was worth every minute in the rain. It was worth every person who said no. It was worth everything." Maya stepped back from the microphone. For a moment, silence. Then the applause began. Not polite applause. Thunderous applause. Standing ovation. People crying and cheering and calling her name. Maya looked at her mother. Denise was sobbing, unable to speak. She looked at Marcus. He was wiping his eyes, trying to maintain composure and failing. She looked at the 24 families. William Hayes was saluting her a formal military salute for a 9-year-old girl who had done what generals couldn't. Maya Jenkins, 9 years old, stood in the governor's mansion with a medal around her neck and the weight of change on her small shoulders. And for the first time in her life, she believed she might actually be special. 6 months later, spring had come to Chicago. Maya stood outside Jefferson Elementary in her cap and gown. 5th grade graduation. The sun was warm. The sky was impossibly blue. So much had changed. The Second Chance National Initiative was now operating in 12 cities across the country. Over 2,000 families had received assistance. The Maya Jenkins Act had been signed into law in Illinois, and 3 other states were considering similar legislation. Victoria Hayes remained in federal prison. She had appealed her sentence and lost. Richard Hayes was released early for good behavior and cooperation. He had written a letter to Maya apologizing for his role. She had read it once and thrown it away. Gregory Patterson completed his community service and now worked as an advocate for homeless veterans. He had asked to meet Maya once to apologize in person. She had declined. Some wounds took longer to heal. The 24 families had grown into a movement. The 24 Project now had chapters in 8 cities. Samuel Carter had been elected to the Illinois state legislature representing the South Side. He was the youngest state legislator in Illinois history. Denise Jenkins had a new job, curriculum consultant for veterans education programs. Part-time remote flexible around her MS. She was even walking short distances now with a cane instead of a walker. Her doctors said the reduced stress had improved her condition dramatically, and Maya was about to graduate elementary school and start a new chapter. "Maya Jenkins," Principal Morrison announced, "valedictorian." Maya walked across the stage to thunderous applause, not just from her classmates, but from the crowd of supporters who had come to watch the 24 families Samuel, Miss Patterson, even some people she didn't recognize who had followed her story. Marcus Thornton sat in the back row, deliberately staying out of the spotlight. He caught her eye and nodded. Maya gave her valedictorian speech. She talked about perseverance, about community, about the power of one person to make a difference, but she ended with something personal. "When I was 7 years old, my mom got sick and I thought my life was over. I thought I would never have a normal childhood. I thought I would always be struggling, always be scared, always be alone." She looked at Denise, who was crying in the front row. "I was wrong. I wasn't alone. I had my mom. I had teachers like Miss Patterson, who saw me when others didn't. I had strangers who became family, and I had one man who lowered his window when everyone else drove away." She paused. "I'm not graduating today because I'm special. I'm graduating because people believed in me, because when I asked for help, someone finally said yes." Maya smiled. "So as we go out into the world, remember you might be someone's number 8. You might be the person who finally stops. You might be the one who changes everything for someone who has nothing. She raised her diploma. B number 8. The world needs more of them. After the ceremony, Maya stood with her mother surrounded by well-wishers. Cameras flashed. People asked for autographs, a strange request for an 11-year-old, but Maya had learned to accept it. Marcus approached them after the crowd thinned. "Congratulations, Maya." "Thank you, Mr. Thornton. I have something for you." He handed her an envelope. "Don't open it now. Wait until you're home." Maya tucked it into her gown. "Mr. Thornton, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you ever regret it? Stopping that day, everything that came after losing board members, fighting Victoria, rebuilding the company from scratch?" Marcus thought about the question. "I regret not stopping sooner. I regret the years I spent looking away. I regret every family that was hurt before you made me see." He looked at her with eyes that had changed so much in 6 months. "But stopping, not listening to you, that's the best decision I ever made." He shook her hand, a formal gesture between equals. "Whatever you do next, Maya, I know it'll be extraordinary. You have a gift. Don't waste it." "I won't." Marcus walked away toward a Prius parked at the curb. The Bentley was long gone. He had sold it months ago and donated the money to the 24 project. Some things were more important than image. That night, the Jenkins apartment. Maya opened the envelope Marcus had given her. Inside was a letter and a check. The letter read, "Dear Maya, when I met you, I was a man who had forgotten where he came from. I had built walls between myself and the world, convinced that success meant distance from struggle. You tore down those walls. The enclosed check is a full scholarship to any university you choose when the time comes. It's not charity, it's an investment. I've never made a better one. But more than money, I want you to know this. You saved me. Not my reputation, not my company. Me, the person I was supposed to be before I got lost. Whatever you become, doctor, lawyer, president, artist, you will change the world. I know this because you already have. With deepest respect and gratitude, Marcus Thornton, P.S. Your mother's medical care is covered for life. It's already been arranged. Don't argue. Just accept it." Maya stared at the check. Full scholarship. Any university. "Baby, what is it?" Denise asked. Maya handed her the letter. Denise read it, then read it again, then started crying. "Mama, don't cry." "I can't help it." Denise pulled Maya into her arms. "You're going to college. My baby is going to college." "That's years away." "I know, but now it's possible. Now everything is possible." Denise held Maya's face in her hands. "Do you understand what you did? You changed our entire lives. With one word, with one refusal to give up." Maya thought about that. About the rain. About the 200 people who said no. About the one who said yes. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mama. You taught me to be strong." "No, baby. You taught me. You taught me that strength isn't about not falling. It's about getting up every time you do." They held each other in the small apartment that had become their fortress, their home, their proof that love could survive anything. Final scene. 5 years later. Maya Jenkins, 14 years old, stood outside Thornton Tower. She was back in Chicago for summer break. High school now. Straight A's. Captain of the debate team. Volunteer coordinator for the 24 Project's youth program. The building hadn't changed. Glass and steel reaching toward the sky. But she had changed. She was taller now, stronger, no longer the small girl in worn sneakers standing in the rain. She walked through the entrance. The security guard smiled and waved her through. Everyone knew Maya Jenkins here. Her picture hung in the lobby as part of the company's Heroes of Change exhibit. She took the elevator to the 42nd floor. Marcus's old office was now a conference room for the Second Chance Initiative's national leadership team. The view was the same. Chicago spreading out below. Millions of people. Millions of stories. Maya stood at the window where Marcus had stood 6 years ago, looking down at a city that had once seemed impossibly large and impossibly indifferent. "Maya?" She turned. Samuel Carter stood in the doorway now. State Senator Samuel Carter, wearing a suit that cost more than his entire wardrobe used to. "Samuel, how's Springfield?" "Complicated, but we're making progress." He walked over and stood beside her at the window. The housing bill passed last week. Full funding for assistance programs, independent oversight, everything we fought for. "I heard. Congratulations." "It's not my victory, it's yours." Samuel looked at her. "None of this would exist without you. You know that, right?" Maya shook her head. It exists because 24 families refused to be silent, because Marcus Thornton had a conscience, because you spent years fighting when no one was watching, and because a 9-year-old girl stood in the rain and said one word. Maya smiled. I was just desperate. No, Samuel turned to face her fully. You were brave. There's a difference. Desperate people give up. Brave people keep going. He checked his watch. I have to get back to the office, but Maya, it's good to see you. Your mother, she's good, walking with a cane now. Her new medication is working. I'm glad. Samuel hugged her. Take care of yourself. The world still needs you. He left. Maya stayed at the window a few more minutes. She thought about everything that had happened. About Victoria Hayes still in prison. About Gregory Patterson now running a homeless shelter in Detroit. About Marcus Thornton retired from CEO position but still actively involved in charitable work. She thought about her mother stronger than ever. About the 24 families now a nationwide network. About Emma Collins, the little girl from the playground, who was now Maya's mentee in the youth program. She thought about the word that had changed everything. Help. 1 word. 4 letters. The courage to ask. The grace to receive. The determination to keep asking until someone said yes. Maya touched the locket around her neck. Janet Thornton's locket. She wore it every day. Thank you, she whispered to the city below, to the millions of people she would never meet, to the ones who had said no and the ones who had said yes. Thank you for teaching me that one person can make a difference, that one word can change the world, that giving up is never the only option. She turned away from the window and walked out of the office. In the lobby, a woman was arguing with the security guard. Beside her, a young boy, maybe 8 years old, clutched a folder full of papers. The security guard was shaking his head. Ma'am, you can't just walk in here. You need an appointment. Please, just 5 minutes. Someone needs to look at these documents. My husband's application was rejected, but there's a mistake. Ma'am, I can't help you. You need to call the assistance line. Maya walked over. Excuse me, can I help? The woman turned. Tired eyes, worn clothes, the look of someone who had been fighting for too long. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cause trouble. No one will listen. I've been trying for months. My husband is a veteran. He has PTSD. We're about to lose our house, and the program rejected us for reasons that don't make sense. Maya smiled. I know someone who can help. Several people, actually. She pulled out her phone. What's your name? Rebecca Santos. Rebecca, I'm Maya. Let's go get some coffee and you can tell me everything. The woman's eyes filled with tears. You do that? Help a stranger. Maya looked at the little boy. He was staring at her with eyes she recognized. Eyes too old for his age. Eyes that had seen too much. I was a stranger once, Maya said. Someone helped me. Now I help others. That's how it works. She took Rebecca's arm and led her toward the door. The security guard called after her. Miss Jenkins, should I log this visit? Maya turned back and smiled. Log it as number 8, she said. Number 8 said yes. She walked out of Thornton Tower into the Chicago sunshine, Rebecca Santos and her son beside her. The city stretched out before them. Vast, complicated, full of people who needed help and people who could give it. Maya Jenkins had once been a desperate girl standing in the rain. Now she was a bridge, and she would spend her life making sure no one had to stand in the rain alone ever again. Because everyone deserves to be heard. Because one word can change everything. Because number 8 might say yes. And number 8 can be anyone, even you.